The L word, lymphedema. When you have breast cancer, surgeons typically remove lymph nodes on the affected side to see if the cancer has spread. Because of this lymph node removal, we're at an increased lifetime risk of developing lymphedema, which is progressive swelling and/or infections. For breast cancer, that would typically show up on the arm on the cancer side. Radiation therapy can also increase the risk of lymphedema. The recommendations for lymphedema prevention has changed significantly over the last 10 years or so. It used to be that if you had breast cancer, you'd likely be told you should never lift with that arm on the cancer side again. No more weight training, no more carrying heavy bags. You should avoid stressing that arm at all costs. If I had been diagnosed 10 years ago, I would likely become a very boring person. Luckily, the recommendations changed. A study called the PAL trial showed that weight training did not increase the risk of developing lymphedema, and that slowly building up under the guidance of a professional could actually be beneficial. The tricky thing is that while there are some correlations, you can't predict who will develop lymphedema. And the incidence really varies, but my surgeon said about 8% of people will develop it. That said, as martial artists, we're especially hard on our arms. I'm not aware of any research that explores lymphedema in martial artists and whether it has a different incidence from a general population. Because I had so many questions about lymphedema, my surgeon referred me to an occupational therapist. Typically, OTs work with patients once they start to notice signs of lymphedema, but she was happy to answer my questions. She shared with me that for a lot of the precautions we're told to take, like avoiding having a blood pressure taken or a blood draw or a vaccine on the cancer side, there's not a ton of evidence supporting that. She said that the biggest risks seem to be infection. So to use a high quality lotion regularly, to make sure to treat all wounds. So if you do a lot of live blade sparring, take note. She recommended that I just continue to train and weightlift the way I do, and that if we need to cross that bridge, we will. I really don't want lymphedema for a variety of reasons. But of course, a big part of that is stick fighting. I'm not going to be able to swing a stick comfortably and safely with a swollen, infected arm. I go back and forth between wondering whether I should try to do anything to try to prevent lymphedema or whether I should just live my damn life. And really, I think it's going to be a constantly moving balance. So here's where I'm at currently. If I'm somewhere where I expect a lot of friction, for example, doing some groundwork and self-defense training, I wear a long sleeve rash guard. Also, I bruise very easily. So I know if I'm doing pad work where I'm going to be doing a lot of striking with my arms and elbows, I'm going to have significant bruising. That actually happened to me a while back where it was just 15 minutes. I was having so much fun hitting pads. I didn't even think about bruising until I got in the car and I started to see them appear. I'm definitely more aware right now that significant bruising could be a risk factor for developing lymphedema, but I don't really do enough empty hands training to really worry too much about that. I do keep some traditional Chinese medicine liniment on hand to put on the bruises, and I eat extra protein and drink water and try to rest as much as possible. The things I do that typically promote healing for me. If you start to notice a tight or heavy sensation in that arm, I recommend getting a referral to an occupational therapist who's also a lymphedema specialist. From everything I've learned, early treatment is really important. Finally, your surgeon might not have told you very much about this. The focus is probably on treating your cancer. Or if it was explained, it might have just been kind of briefly explained. Or you might not have even noticed because you're so focused on treating the cancer. So if you haven't looked into this, I recommend just reading some basics about the lymphatic system.